Delaware has never had a debtor's prison, the way I was trained as a judge. So therefore, we rarely put someone in jail for non-payment. We usually gave them a new payment plan. And this became a cyclical thing. You'd see the same person every 3 or 4 months. And a reason the matter isn't resolved is the police and the probation officers only occasionally do warrant pickups. Otherwise, you just have to be doing something else to have a warrant retired for non-payment of fines. Usually the police officers nor probation officers go look for people who have warrants for non-payment of fines. It's usually another reason, and then you find out they have a warrant for non-payment. So I understand it's a very complex issue. I'm not against this resolution or anything you've done, but I think people just need to understand that officers would find out the main ones that didn't pay would have a lot of these amenities that you would think the money could have gone toward paying their fines.
Respectfully, I would say that I'm not going to generalize what choices people may or may not have made or jump to conclusions that they made those purchases themselves. I will say that the numbers that we had signal that there have been, in the cases of bail and in driver's license suspension and fines and fees issues, over 700 people annually that enter Smyrna because they are too poor to afford even a minimal amount.
I agree. Motor vehicle, yes, I agree.
So, respectfully, I would disagree with some of what you're characterizing, but I appreciate the comment.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from the public?
The gentleman right here.
No. Whoever wants to draw us.
Okay, I just had a comment that, first of all, thank you,
Can you please
for
state
this.
your name and
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
your problem.
Mary Ann Edwards, and I am a citizen of Wilmington. I live not too far from here. So my point is, I think in looking at what you're doing to rectify some of the damage that is caused by this, I think you should also consider that it's probably not a very effective way of raising income, because from what we could see, you can't find out who's getting the money, who's keeping track of it, and how much there is, because as the previous speaker said, most of these people cannot afford to pay. And who would go sit in jail getting more fees piled on them because they didn't want to pay and they were being belligerent? I don't see that. But the other thing I'd like to say is I think that you should look at it from the standpoint of it's an ineffective thing. If you did a cost-benefit relation, assessment, you'd see that you're spending more processing this thing than you are getting back from it. And it's also a pretty mean way to try to raise revenue by just picking on the poorest people in the city. And it destroys communities. It destroys families. It pulls wage earners out. So I think from a moral standpoint, we should just kind of look at it and say, is that what we want to be known to do? I mean, I know a lot of other states do it, but I think we should let's be better than that. And let's do something more effective. Thank you.
Thank you. Next member of the public.
Good evening. My name is Christian Willauer. I'm a resident of the city of Wilmington. I'm with a policy working group of the Wilmington Community Advisory Council, which seeks to engage a broad network of stakeholders in the development of policies to address barriers to success and promote positive development among youth and young adults in the city of Wilmington. We would like to thank Council for developing this resolution. Addressing fines and fees and eliminating the suspension of driver's licenses for non-payment of fines and fees would be an important step forward in supporting the success of returning citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brandon Fletcher. So I'm just here to talk to you about SB 39. Studies show that a system that focuses its practices on throwing people in jail and charging fines and fees for a driving ticket or failure to make a payment is wrong. And it instead doesn't change anything but sets a precedent of criminalizing poverty, which we all know will disproportionately impact black and brown people all across the city of Wilmington. Just to put it in context, a mom who works 2 or 3 jobs to get by, put food on the table and a roof over her children's head, cannot simply come out of pocket $200 to $300 of excess fines and fees. People who are already working so hard to get by can't afford another setback through a system that puts its profits over people, which is why I think assimilation is great, but we're talking about the lives of people every day who have to deal with a broken and corrupt criminal justice system. So I'm not sure if you've worked as a correction officer in the city of Wilmington, but people have issues with the fines and fees, and I believe that this resolution, SB 39, ensures reform that Delawareans will no longer be punished for the inability to pay due to poverty, which seeks to end the cycle of economic disenfranchisement imposed by courts, fines, and fees. That's all I have to say today.
Thank you, sir. Any other members of the public?
Well, I'm wearing 2 hats tonight because I help these guys out too. I'm someone who's actually experienced the plight of having my license suspended, taken away when I was already done serving time for my crime. I actually was on probation and my license was taken away from me. I had a vehicle at the time that I still was using, breaking the law. I was pulled over trying to get to probation and parole, trying to get up to Cherry Lane, and I had to pay fines on not having my license and driving and not having insurance and driving. Stupid stuff. You know, my license was taken away, so I did that not thinking I could have got on the bus. You know, I don't have a problem getting on the bus now, but back then I was in a different state of mind. I felt like I needed to drive. I was different. But the changes that we need to make to grow up and to grow out of our criminal ways, they come with time, and they don't come with these unnecessary impediments that are very unfair to the most poor and vulnerable population of people, black and brown people here in Wilmington or anywhere. And we have to support progress for people that need to grow and get better. I'll say just recently I was at the courthouse, and it was because of an old fine that I had from 10 years ago when I was pulled over. I never paid this fine. So I was at court with a whole bunch of other people that were in the courtroom that had problems with paying their old fines that they had. There was one man that was elderly. He said he just got diagnosed with cancer, but you can garnish my Social Security, he said to the broker. He didn't actually get a chance to talk to the judge. The people could have waited 2 hours to talk to the judge, but the people from probation that take the money, the fines, that set up the payment plans with people, they were sitting in the courtroom just trying to set up a payment plan with the people that didn't have any way to pay them. This man said, you can garnish my Social Security. So they take $10 or however much money that they take a month out of his Social Security. There was a woman that had just become pregnant. She said, I'm unemployed. She said, I don't have a way to pay you guys right now. She didn't look healthy, and she was pregnant. They set her up with the payment plan. I heard it was $10 a month. People that are living life and trying to provide for their family,
15 seconds.
They don't deserve to have to worry about these extra impediments on them. And you guys need to have a heart for these people. And to answer your question, Trippy, one of the biggest roadblocks, the biggest pushback comes from the FOP, just like with this body camera issue. The FOP, because they receive this money and they do whatever they want with it, and they don't want to give it up.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Is there any other members of the public who have comment? Okay. And just brief closing remarks from the crime sponsor.
Thank you, Mr.
Council
Chair.
President.
I just want to reiterate that Senate Bill 39